Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the sixth episode of Resonance Cast, your go to podcast for all things Blue Protocol Star Resonance related. And I'm your host, Percy. And as always, I'm joined by these beautiful, wonderful co hosts, Kai, Chi, and Bidoof.
Hello.
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 Okay, then we have two medium energy and one low energy person running here. Makes sense. It was a really exhausting week. That will be also one of the things we will talk about today. So today's episode is packed with juicy topics and spicy speculations, including our journey on in Maxroll, all the stuff we had to keep behind the scenes, so much thing we had to prepare, and those guys did a great job, I would say, like if you check the site. So we will briefly talk about that. And then we want to talk about some terms. As always, a new game releases, there are mechanics terms the community wants to agree on, like specific patterns or how to name this, how to name that, and then you have the clash of different communities until a certain term wins. So we have a couple of things about that, and then of course we have the concerns. The last few weeks, new people join and always ask the same question, always about the pay to win stuff. And of course, imagine we need to mention that at least once per resonance cast, otherwise people will be shocked. And of course, last point of today's podcast will be release-related speculations, and that will be today's agenda. So buckle up; it's going to be a wild ride, I would say. So let's jump right in. So first one, as mentioned earlier, we're gonna talk about Maxroll. So during our last few podcasts, we tried all our best to not give it any hint. Let me start with this journey is a long one. Before I even joined Maxroll as a editor guide writer, I was part of Blue Protocol. Like I created back then, I don't know, 1,000 years ago, the Blue Protocol database community with Suji back then, and then at some point Nier and Nico joined too, and that was all before Maxroll. So it was something I was already interested in back then. And then around Blue Protocol time, we tried to make something similar for the Western release. You and Kai were already back then in the team, and they put in a lot of efforts, but it was also soul crushing to get the end of service or never going to happen in West news. That was really bad. But then once again, Bakura came with the hey, there is Star Resonance, and we're like, well, yeah, nothing is wasted. So and then we were working the past couple months on this project. Wouldn't have been possible without sacrificing sleep. And thankfully, we also got the Maxroll devs who worked on those tools. We're still, we're going to talk about some future stuff, but that's my side. So let's first start with Kai, who was here longer. Maxroll, how was your journey? What was the difficult part? Without breaching any NDAs, by the way, guys, careful.
No, I mean, it's as you mentioned, we tried something like this for the original Blue Protocol first, but yeah, then we had the heartbreaking news. But luckily Bakura came around. We had to basically start all over from a fresh beginning, but in the end, we managed to make it happen. Even though, as Percy said, we lost out on some sleep, but we're here now, so can't complain. I will say now that everything's out for now.
Nice.
Nice.
And yeah, Bidoof, hopefully he won't be stun locked.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, you said that you had to start from a fresh beginning. I remember I actually joined the team really late for Blue Protocol, and then yeah, I did see that you guys had stuff already worked on, but right as I joined, it was just the server shutdown. So that's
Yeah.
And then fast forward to later on, we were given another opportunity to make the branch again. And I mean, I didn't know where this game was going, but I decided, I'll try to do it again. And yeah, I'm actually really happy and proud by how the branch turned out to be, or is or is
Yes.
um I'm happy that the branch turned out the way it is right now.
Okay, I will save you here, guys.
Yeah.
Some notes here. Bidoof just woke up, and he's well known in the
morning.
community for being stunlock prone. And since most of us are just getting back some of our sleep after every day in the past few weeks, we had like 8 hours of review sessions and those kind of things, and barely any sleep. So his stun lock sensitivity just went up. So this might happen a lot. So apologizing for that. Let's move the mic to Chi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am not that experienced. I didn't join when it was called Blue Protocol. I actually only joined like a month ago, roughly a month ago. And yeah, what's a new experience? Because I never did something like this before. Like my first time making written guides, video guides, I started like 2 months ago. And it was also very hard, but I had a lot of help. So yeah. And definitely the guides might not be perfect. But hopefully it's good enough for the community.
Humble. I mean, our approach, like, I don't want to use too much of the podcast time to yap about, that Maxroll and stuff. I just want to not ignore it because people are now aware and we can finally talk about it. But as you said, we started a point, and especially for build guides, I feel like we have in Maxroll, we have MMOs and RPGs. The benefit of RPGs, in my opinion, is you can test things a little bit more easier, because you get the drop, and there is not much of like months of investment needed to get a gear to a certain point to check out a different approach or get the talents and so on. So it's much easier to to test different variants. While in MMOs, it's more difficult because it usually comes with a lot of time you have to commit to get all the stuff needed to test a new thing. And this is something we learned pretty fast after releasing our first few MMOs. We learned with every MMO release something after failing a lot, and at some point, I think like here this branch is a combination of all things we did correct and then also improved on after doing wrong. For example, this branch launched with a community planner, so we are aware like there are going to be a lot of variants, viable things. So we wanted to give the community also the tools to publish their builds and put it on our site. You can see that on community planners. There are so many content creators already. Shout out to all those people, Spanish speaking or Brazilian people who already started making the guys the moment we dropped the planner. Really love it. We also started supporting all the language the Western game supports. Sadly, Brazil, like Spanish, is not part of it, or Portuguese. If the game supports it, we will definitely get that also onto our tools. But currently, we can only support, I think, Chinese, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, and Korean. Korean is not fully translated in the game, so there will be some issues. But we are trying. The same goes for the database. And also for all the builds, right after releasing the branch, I'm pretty sure like Kai, you, Bidoof, and she, there were a couple OGs and also interested people who were trying to min-max and also help out with inputs for the guides. And that helped a lot, I would say. What do you guys think? Like, there were a couple, decent amount of people who wanted to work with you guys or help you guys.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few people when it comes to at least each class, I would say, that were like willing to test stuff and help out. Even if they didn't have like per se access to even CN server, they would like do research, whether it's through Bilibili or through other means. So, any help was definitely just really appreciated, whether it's like from the beta test or even from people just doing their own research.
Yep, definitely. I mean, once again, that's our approach. But at the same time, like the last 2 points regarding Maxroll, the first one we want to make clear, we are aiming to make these guides approachable for the majority, which are casuals. So if you want to see like 2%er builds, like where you have to min-max a lot, we will try to avoid those because it might be like a high maintenance build which can pull the best numbers, but if you force that onto casual players and make that the norm, they won't enjoy the game. They will feel like they're getting pressured. So we want them to enjoy. And this game really doesn't need you to min-max that much to really to complete all those mandatory contents and normal mode, hard mode dungeons. So we want to keep the FOMO low and avoid those mistakes which usually happens in MMOs like this. And also we are trying to, like, the current approach for the gear we recommend is what is available at the beginning. So these kind of things might differ compared to what the current end game is in CN. So some builds are catered towards giving you guys more leniency to make mistakes at the beginning. So the further we progress on the Western server after release, the better, or the higher the recommendation will be adjusted towards what is available in the West. So that's the approach. And one last thing, tier lists. This was a big topic. Like, I don't recommend any us making tier lists. And at some point we all agreed we don't want to do that because it's an MMO. It's not a gacha game. It frequently changes. And of course, you can't just make a tier list because a lot of classes perform well in the hands of a majority, and then just are godlike in the hands of 5% players. And then there are classes which are, really bad at when played by the or not really bad, like, let's say less strong if played by the casual, and then we can't make just a tier list based on the peak performance. So we try to stay away. But with that being said, we will try a different approach. We will frequently ask the community about what they think the classes are and how they would rank it, and then we will make frequently a community perception tier list. I think that's something we tried in Lost Ark. People loved it, so we will try something similar with new tools for this branch too. As a closing thought about for this Maxroll related topic, anyone want to talk about tier lists? Like, are you guys fine with this approach? I mean, we talked a lot about it. Or do you guys want to do some tier lists now and give us the S tier best class ever for all situations? No hands, monitor off.
I think community voted ones, and then we talk about the community voted ones, are better than us making it. Because if I would make it, everything's at S tier.
What about you, Bidoof?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would just make my class S tier and everything else F tier.
Nice.
Hey.
Well, Kai,
I don't really have anything else to add to that.
Kai, will you do the same thing?
Just Wait, what?
No. Sorry.
I think for me it's like the same as you. I think everything is S tier at the moment. So
yeah, sorry, Bidoof, I interrupted you. What were you about to say?
Oh, me? I mean, I'd just be biased as heck for my class. It's the class I dumped over 1,000 hours in. Of course, I'm gonna put S tier and everything else F.
Well,
that's the 1,000 hours.
Well, actually, the smart people will be like, I will put my class as F tier because then it's gonna get buffed.
True. That was his class to get nerfed.
Yep.
This class needs to be nerfed.
Okay.
True, I agree. I agree.
Well, that's it for the first major topic. So our Maxroll journey and our approach in the future. If you guys have any feedback, suggestions, as always, let us know in the comments about this topic. If you want to have any new features, we are working on a couple new. We can't reveal it yet, but once they are there, they are there. And then let's move on to our next topic, which I mentioned earlier about the terms, right? So there are a lot of people from different MMOs coming to this game, so there are going to be mechanics and certain actions which have like a predetermined term in other games, which are not always the same. So it might be different for each game. And one such thing was an interesting conversation we had in the Maxroll Discord after releasing the branch. We had some, feedback there, and there was a feedback channel talking about the one specific mechanic called Tank Buster. So it was one of the discussions we had early when we started to make the dungeon guides and the boss guides. There's a reoccurring pattern for coupled boss fights where the highest aggro or the highest HP player usually gets like a circle with arrows pointing inwards, and if usually the tank, if no one else is in the circle, the tank would usually take a lot of damage, and sometimes also die. So, and the way to prevent this is by stacking together with other members. They have to move in, or the tank has to move to them, whichever is the better one, depending on the boss you're fighting. And so that's basically the mechanic. So we call it Tank Buster. For me, it made sense because I came from usually played other MMORPGs like Lost Ark, Arcade, and so on. I never played Final Fantasy that much. I played it a little bit at the beginning, didn't like it, but it's still a great game. That doesn't mean anything just because I didn't like it. And so for me, Tank Buster after Kai, I think Kai was the one who suggested it first. It made total sense because it's a skill made, like that was my thought process. It was a skill made to bust the tank, just to basically slay the tank. And the way to prevent it, and I knew there were some other mechanics similar to this in other MMOs I played, which are not always like this. This is like in Blue Protocol, it's like a one-hit kill if tank is alone. But there are multi-hit tank busters where the tank needs to use their damage reduction and the healer needs to use their damage reduction to survive a series of pattern targeted towards the tank. There is also the debuff tank busters where the boss debuffs the tank, and over time the tank loses defensive stats, and if you don't cleanse it, you just look from the boss and the tank will just die. So there are a couple one, and for me it made sense. And then we had the Final Fantasy people coming in and saying, no, that is a team stack. So I was like, wait, why is it team stack? And then they explained it, okay, so you have to stack on top of a player to, mitigates damage. The more people in, the more damage you mitigate. I mean, that makes sense. So from that approach, I was like, yeah, I mean, if that is the case, for like if that pattern would always apply to a random player, I would call it team stack. But since it always applies, or usually applies to the tank because of aggro and HP, it is a combination of both. So that was the discussion. That was a long wind up. Sorry for that. So what do you guys think about this? So let's start with Bidoof.
I might be in favor of calling it the party stack because there's some like patterns that we call tank busters where it just actually targets a random player. There's other ones that actually do target specifically the aggroed player or the tank specifically, but there are some that also just target a random player. So yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends on the pattern and the boss.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I kind
Chi?
of agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with Bidoof. I think I probably missed this during the team review, or probably forgot to bring it up. But yeah, it is team stack because 80% of the time it's targeting random players. There can be multiple of these, and it just hits a random player. In like, let's say the Towering Ruins dungeon, I think that's the guide that Kai made.
Mhm.
The tank buster, a quote unquote tank buster, actually targets random players. So I would say a tank buster is something that only targets the tank or the highest aggro player, which, for example, in I think the Goblin dungeon, this happens at the start of the fight. That is called a tank buster, in my opinion. And the party stack one is the one that happens to any random player, and it requires you to stack. But the tank buster one, the tank has to run away, and then use a damage reduction skill. If not, if he stacks on someone else, that person's dying.
Okay. And Kai, what is your take as a tank?
I mean, if it just targets like any player, which it does have the chance to target random players, as an example for me would be like the Light Dragon raid, where two random players get a stack marker on them. It does not like it's like never the tank. So at that point, I feel like yeah, it can be just be called like a team stack. Because in that same raid, there's like a tank buster kind of thing, like Chi mentioned, where the tank has to like run away, and if they get near other players, they are just dead. So
That makes sense. Like once again, this is like this pattern has so many variants. It might be easier to just like one option would be, hey, if we make it based on each dungeon, right? Okay, if it targets the tank always, we could call it tank buster, and then if it's a random player based one in other dungeon, we could call it team stack. But then people usually react to sound cues. So if you call, if we agree on to call it the same, doesn't matter who the target is, it will make it easier for random parties or for shot calls, instead of having to think about what is this actually. You see the circle, inwards pointing to, arrows. You know, okay, it's team stack, or we agree on calling it tank buster, and everyone knows what to do. Also, that one pattern you talked about, I remember on Goblin, the one where you get smited, kinda.
Yeah.
That. Why are you sure it has an inward pointing arrow?
No,
I'm-
that one is no
Yeah.
arrows.
Yeah,
Oh, I think you called that tank busters instead.
Oh, okay. So
It's
that
what I think.
yeah, that one is definitely an anomaly. We need to take a look at it. So that is definitely an interesting topic which was brought up. I just brought it up here to discuss about it, and we love to talk about these kind of things and then just agree on one term. I remember this same thing happening in Lost Ark, where for mechanics you need to go to certain positions. There was that Korean position thing which came over from people like, oh, Koreans always use that, so we should use that, which was your party number multiplied by 3, but if you're party 2, then it's multiplied by 3 plus 1. And then the Western players, some of the Western players were like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to calculate during the raid where I need to go. We can just call it northeast, like cardinal and ordinal directions, so northeast, southwest, and then northeast, and so on. And then, there were people who can't read clocks. So if you tell them go to 3 o'clock, they wouldn't know what 3 o'clock is. And the same goes for people who don't know where the cardinal directions are. So it took a while. And then, at the end of the day, it was the math doing the calculations. And now it's like, yeah, it's every usual day we are like, okay, yeah, that's how we agreed on, that's how it is. So I think it's going to take a while until we agree on or reach a consensus about how to define things, and we will definitely take a closer look on this pattern. But once again, this is another thing which was started by the community, and we really appreciate those kind of feedbacks. So keep them flowing. Well, next we have, as always, we want to balance out the good things with the bad things. So we have the concerns. The first one, which was brought up a lot, which usually developers and publishers struggle with, and I remember one of our first few podcasts we talked about this, which is communication. So people were like, okay, why is there silence? Why don't they make like big promotions, and why don't they frequently communicate with us? Are they listening to the Western players, or are they only listening to the Chinese players? All these communication related concerns. What do you think about this? Like, are they valid? Are there some overreactions, or is it like a mix? Chi.
Okay, I think it's valid. Because usually communication will be very good, especially since we like 2 or 3 days to release, and there hasn't been any communication aside from social posts. Yeah, I believe the community is valid to have these kind of communications, but there's a reason like why they can't, like why there's not enough communication. I don't know if I can speak on it, but yeah.
Okay, and Bidoof?
I think it's 100% valid. Like, we are only 2 days away, and I haven't, like, I don't know what's going on over at the official, but like, I just haven't heard anything from A plus in like probably a month, other than just their daily social post. So it is kind of concerning what's gonna happen, and is this gonna be the norm going past release? It's I definitely think that it's gonna tank the community a bit if this is gonna be the norm.
Yeah, it's definitely valid. They definitely need to just communicate better. Like one of the things, even from what I remember in the IGN interview, was like, okay, we're gonna give away like open like a early character creator very likely, and there's nowhere to be seen, and it's something like a pre-download or any news. Like we've not had anything for a long time, and people are just wondering what's gonna happen, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the official release time is. Like Steam database and Epic database, they both have different release timers. So, it, I'm just confused.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legit. Like I totally agree. Like I've always felt like the weakest point in the West when the game is about to get released is the communication. At the beginning, I felt like Bokura is really good at communicating. In the last few weeks, it was different. I have to bring in the other perspective though. Towards the release, as Bokura as the developer, they will be on crunch, right? Like they will do a lot of things, change things. We had the CBT recently, and they're gonna apply all the feedbacks, and we saw they are willing to change stuff. So that's the one thing they have going for their for the what they did in the last few weeks or didn't, basically communication. And then there's one thing I learned today. I heard about it a while ago and then totally forgot about it, and then I got reminded today about it. So as far as I know, the entire last week was a national holiday in China. Is that true?
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah, it is an unfortunate timing, but I feel like that is one of the things why there was nothing going on, or like not the same amount of communications as usual, because more than half, or that all the Chinese staff members tied to this game were on a vacation. That's like a very big national holiday in China, apparently. So I was like, okay, now it makes kind of sense. But yes, I still believe there it's a couple days. I mean, 2 more days. We should know by now. Will we get a character creation to do a creator before? When is the pre-download? When is the release of the game? We need all those details. I really hope better late than never. So I really hope it's going to happen today or tomorrow.
Maybe
and
we'll find out in social post.
maybe
Who knows?
maybe that. And one thing Kai brought up, which we are trying to get an opportunity again, so people loved the interview we did. So it wasn't an interview, once again, for those who didn't didn't know about that. So we did an interview with Roy, Bakura's founder, if I remember correctly, and the questions we asked in the interview were collected from the community. So it was not something you would see as, usual journalist questions. So they were actually from the community. We asked those, and people liked that. So we would love to keep this format up. We reached out to them, and we are waiting for their reply. So that is one of those things we would love to keep doing frequently. Collecting concerns, questions from the community, forwarding it to the dev, so that we don't feel like we are getting ignored, right? Usually, if a Korean, Japanese, Chinese game releases to the West, and I'm gonna be like, blunt here, it always feels like their local region, they decide how the game changes usually, and it's until a certain point where the game is in a dire situation, they mainly focus on their local player-based opinion. And I feel like they should, like Bakura shouldn't do that. They should listen to the Western players and their concerns, because we have different preferences. And that is strong signal. Like if they are showing us they are listening and making changes because of our feedback, that is a big plus, and we are really trying to push towards the direction. Hopefully it will work, and yeah, let's see how that part goes.
They just need to do better. That's all I'm gonna say. They could have just scheduled some posts to release if they're gonna go on their vacation, but they didn't even do that. So yeah, I'm just I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just an angry, just gruntled old man. I don't know.
I mean, you can count the social posts, like they kept doing social posts, but the issue is that those are, it's not like they were completely silent. The issue is they were silent about the things we want to hear about. That is the issue, right? Like, once again, pre-download, character creator, and release time, and so on. So that is the issue. And I agree with you a bit on that point. That should have been better. And I hope it will be better in the future. And we will hear about those kind of things today or tomorrow. Okay. Next concern. Will there be enough tanks and healers, or will there be a shortage of those like in every other MMO? So I won't give an intro here. Let's just move this, or give this mic, and let's start with Bidoof. What do you think about this?
There's definitely gonna be a shortage. Maybe not for the chaotic realm, which is the five player dungeons. There'll probably be a lot of like healers in the start, especially like for new content. There'll always be like tanks and healers. But then when we start pushing into like later content, when it's 20-man, then you might start running into problems where you can't find tanks, especially later on in the week where everyone's practically done with the raid, since it's a weekly lockout reward. But you can participate as many times as you want. But then, like, most people aren't going to participate more than one time after they get their weekly lockout rewards. So slowly you're going to start running into like problems where there's just not enough tanks, maybe even not enough healers either. But then we'll have to see on that.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Kai?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're really gonna notice the issue become a thing when the 20-man raids release, and that's when people will start to worry about it. And I mean, I thought in my guild there were a lot of tanks, so I did a poll and it was like about even, but there were always still like way more DPS. So we will definitely notice it being an issue, I reckon.
More Doom. And you want to stack on that Doom?
I think it'll be the same thing for dungeons.
Even more Doom.
Yeah, I think it's even more Doom because okay, I don't think healers or supports or whatever. I don't think there's gonna be a shortage of them. Because I believe a lot of people want to play supports.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to play, and it's for the casual majority. They just want to chill, just play support. Don't need to think much, and yeah. So I don't think supports are gonna have too much of a shortage. I think tanks are definitely gonna have a shortage. That 100%. So even in CN is the case.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely what Bidoof said. Later down in the week, you will find for finding raid parties, it's gonna be hard to find. So usually what people will do is try to find 12-man parties. So you can run with 2 tanks. I think that's the amount you need for 12-man. 2 tanks, 2 healers, and then 8 DPS. So you don't need that many classes outside of DPS.
Oh, and just to add a little bit extra details to that, because people are going to be wondering why 12-man, why not like 13 or 14-man? Well, the way they structured raid scaling, so the HP of the raid, it doesn't spike until after 12 players. So that's why 12 or 20-man is usually the optimal points to run that content.
I mean, it makes sense because, it's based on parties, not on each player, right? And since you get the party buff, if they didn't remove it, like if your party consists of 1 tank, 1 support, and then rest DPS, then you get a buff for the entire party, which increases the damage, wasn't it? So
I think you're going. I know what you're talking about, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like the HP just for the boss just spikes up for no reason after going from 12 to 13 man. That's why some parties just prefer to run 12 man.
Yeah, but I mean the number, like the 12 as why is it not 13, which is the threshold, right? It's a multiplier of a party. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about why it is spiking at a particular point, but I'm saying 6, 12, then you have 18 and then 24. Wasn't it times 6? Am I confusing currently something? The party numbers? Or was it 5? Dude, I'm so confused.
I'm not sure now what you're talking about anymore.
Party size
I know
is 5,
that
and a 20-man party is 4 parties of 5.
Oh yeah, okay. So dude, I was playing too much different games.
now you're stun locked.
Yep, now I am stun locked. Thank you, Bidoof. Okay,
No
so then it's odd because 2 parties would be 10, and then you have 2 additional people who are not in an actual party, but they're in the raid, and then suddenly it spikes. It's an odd number though. Yeah. Initially, I thought it won't be an issue, because of, once again, we have different preferences. So you can say, okay, China has a problem with that. But I think we can't say, okay, one region has the problem, this region will have the similar problem. Often it's true, but not always. The preferences are different. As you said, we have a lot of people going to play healer. I mean, they are simple, but at the same time, they are not as boring as in other MMOs where you just press 1 and 2s, and it's what you do as a healer and occasionally move away. I feel like you do a little bit more here in terms, because it's action combat and not tap targeting. So
yeah, I think a lot of people have that perception that it's going to be very brain dead. It's not, but
yeah,
you can't
exactly.
change it until you play the game.
Of course, I mean, those kind of perceptions will change once they engage with the game or play the classes. As for tanks, I feel like, see, it's about it. Like I saw a lot of polls in guilds, and they were like, "Okay, which class are you going to play?" And it always felt like there are way more than enough tanks and support/healers. So let's say the argument you brought up, once you have done the dailies, and then there's the grind portion where, if you want to min-max more, you can grind stuff. And that's where you said, okay, then we will have the issue. But it's about if the scale or the ratio of tank support and DPS is given at any time, and you do the daily, then people drop out and only a few people are left who want to grind more for min-maxing, then the ratio wouldn't change there. Like there will be out of X amount of tanks, the certain percentage of tank people who want to grind, and it should be a similar percentage for DPS. So I believe it is not as bad as you guys think, but hey, this is just predictions based off experience and casting the dice and assuming it's gonna happen. So I think it won't be an issue as we believe. I won't be as much surprised if we see at some point like too many tanks and too many supports and not enough DPS.
It's a good thing.
That is, yeah,
That's a really good thing.
That's gonna suck for the DPS though.
No.
No.
I don't think
DPS
so.
are always required, so no.
No, what if 50% of the player base is either, or let's say 60% of the player base is either tank or healer?
Good.
Awesome.
I mean,
that is
yeah,
amazing.
That's something you're saying because you're gonna get picked because you're gonna have a really high score. So I saw that in other MMOs. Once those healers know they are or the tanks they know they are precious. Let's say they are only I don't know, barely min-max. They know their value, so they're gonna take people who are insanely min-max DPS, and all the DPS who are equally min-max, they will be rejected. So it's a power play. I mean, you can't avoid that. It's like in real life. Anyone who thinks in game will be different than in real life, people will be different in game than in real life. Surprise, surprise. Nope. Gatekeeping, for
no.
example, is also something which reflects from real life. If you put in a lot of effort into something and you want to clear something faster and efficiently, you want to have people who are put in an equal amount of effort, and that applies also to games. That is what usually people call gatekept. If you apply to a party with 5 people or 4 people who are really good min-max and you are, let's say, not as much min-max and you get kicked, then you call it gatekeeping. But you can't force people to take you just because you apply to them. I mean, that would be unfair. And at the same time, if the same person would be in the other situation, they would have done the same. That's how we are. Every time we are at the receiving end as human, it's bad. But if we have the power to decide, we would do the exact same thing. Well,
Yep. I mean, I think what you're looking for is called a job interview. Like, just send in your resume.
Send in your ability score.
Yep. Your last parsings for the last 10 dungeons.
Oh yeah,
And then
DPS meters. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And then also a recommendation from the last 6 group leaders here where you participated.
Yeah, at least 3.
At least 3, yeah. Oh, shit. Well, it is how it is. And luckily, most hard and normal dungeons and daily and mandatory content are so easy. There shouldn't be an issue. Usually the gatekeeping is a thing when MMOs get to the point of difficult content where people who don't know I want to say who don't know stuff can waste the time of everyone else. In that case, people will hard gatekeep and want to get people to increase the odds of not wasting time. But in this game, it's like, once again, for the mandatory content, it's totally fine. It's not like you need to memorize 100 patterns or something. We have guides for that, #ad. But other than that, I think it should be fine.
Play tank.
Play tank,
Yeah.
please.
Hard to do.
Well, I played tank the last few tests, to be honest, and I'm gonna play mage. So
Hey.
-1 tank.
Betrayal.
No, it's
Yeah,
usually
you
my
see, we have
Yeah?
some vacancy in tanks. We need tanks. Maybe like a heavy guardian. It would be nice.
Yep.
that thing will be like, Bidoof said preferably heavy guardian, so shield knights are shit. That's what. Okay, that's going to be the next.
Nope. You're taking that out of context. So
Don't
the thing
worry,
is,
I'm still
the
playing
context that I'm
Shield
missing,
Knight.
that I, the context that I didn't add there is that, according to global CVT, only 3% chose heavy guardian. So I think we need more heavy guards. I think they need more love.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they are as good as a shield knight. They can be even better than a shield knight in certain fights. They can pull enemies, which a shield knight can't do without the help of an Imagine, right? So they definitely have they're not bad. Like, are there any classes you guys would say they are not at a good spot?
No.
Not really.
Can I say something just for them to buff it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, the Idol Blade, Idol Slash.
Shield Knight's recovery spec.
Yeah. The
The
mage
Oracle
is
buffed the
so
whole thing.
bad. Just 10x its damage, man. Yep. Okay. I regret asking that question. Okay.
But
Yeah.
jokes aside, nothing. There's nothing. Things fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
She says that. So I agree with that, and I think we all agree with that. But once again, there are some tier lists out there. Just getting back this thrown in. Guys, please spread the words. Those tier lists, first of all, outdated. Second of all, it's an MMO. It's not a gacha game. So if you make a decision based on that in an MMO. And not based on how you like the class and if you enjoy playing it. Forget about, what if I pick a class which I enjoy, but it can't clear content? no, there's no such a thing in this game so far. I hope it will stay like that, where a class can't clear content. It's not the case. And you won't be gate kept just because you're playing a class. But if you follow those tier lists and and especially the wrong ones who talk shit, sorry. And then you pick a class which you don't enjoy, but you pick because, oh yeah, it's a S tier. And then after the next balance patch, which happens maybe 1 week after a release, that class is suddenly balanced, okay? And you are stuck with the class which performs as good as every other class, but you don't enjoy it because it's not your playstyle. Like, why would you do that? I don't get it. Yeah, that's my small rant about tier list again. I wanted to say earlier the reason why I went with Frost Mage, not because I hate tanks. It's because I usually do this for MMOs. For CBTs and everything up till the Western release, I play a class X, and then for Western release, I usually pick a class I never played, just to have that fresh feeling, and then discover stuff and get to enjoy the game from a different perspective. That's my approach. Not because tanks suck. I loved actually playing tank. Yeah, Bidoof?
So I wanted to add add one more point to that. What you said earlier, how like you don't get why people play X class just because it's OP, and then it just gets balanced, and then suddenly it's not OP, then they just get upset. Yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna come from FF14 because that's the game where you can just kind of switch classes whenever you kind of have a freedom to switch and play whatever you want and not be far behind or at all. In this game, if you're only meta chasing, then good luck, because the moment your class just gets hit with a balance patch, and if it's like really bad and you just drop all the way to the bottom, it's like, well, what are you gonna do now? Because now you don't like the class because it's not that strong, and you can't really. The game doesn't really give you a. To me, it doesn't give you a good way to switch all of your gear to like a different class yet. Like for example, like imagines or like modules, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Like if you built or you spent a lot of money on those, then like you're and like the class that you want to swap to doesn't use those, then you just lost like, I don't know, months of progress or maybe several $100s. So my recommendation is just play the class that is just really fun. Like don't try not to meta chase.
Yeah.
Amen.
I agree. The only thing if a balance patch happens and it hits your class, the only thing that may happen is what we got in CN is resetting your skill books into the boxes that you can select it. But they didn't let us reset our imagines. So we're stuck with shitty imagines. Not shitty imagines, but unoptimal imagines for the class that we want to swap to. And modules as well, of course, but
yeah, and I remember that you built like this gold imagine chi, like this boar, and now it's like you want to switch imagines, and it's like, well, I just wasted, I don't know, maybe a couple $100, and I can't get it back. I mean, like,
yep. Yeah. But let me hear. Oh, I missed this context. Let me bring some context in. So, this issue is correct, but you have to also bring in the perspective of what kind of content Chi and Bidoof do in China. They grind the master about 6. Did you clear 17, 18 already?
6 billion, yeah.
Yeah. So these are like pushing the master score, just clearing it for the sake to display a juicy number next to their name. It is not a mandatory content. It's for those people who want to just challenge themselves, right? And then show EP numbers that, look at me, I have a high master score, right? And of course, you guys invest into imagines further. You level up imagines. So definitely, if you have to change the class, it's like, oh shit, now I have to level up a different imagine. When I played it, I played the first test as a little bit more on the credit card side, and then the second one on second character. I was like, okay, let's do it in the free-to-play way. I played the tank I had the base boar, and I had the based auger. And I would say until Master 10, I didn't feel like I had to change it. Why should I? I will stick it with it at at tier 0, basically the base version. And if the balance changes and if I have to reroll to a different class, I can just get the other one to T0, and I'm fine with it. Like, once again, it depends on if you are the top 5% chaser, wants to go for those non-mandatory but challenging one to prove yourself, then it's an issue. But if you are a casual, the majority, you don't need, like, once again, you don't need as all those wrong tier lists and fucking okay, calm down, Percy. You don't need for the content you need to do as a casual to progress the game. You don't need tier 5 imagines. Why would you bother calculating that if this game doesn't, like Lost Ark had that issue, or other MMOs usually have the issue? They put in some content where, as a casual player, you have to clear it, but to do so, you either have to invest months or you pay up. And this is an issue. It was an issue, but I feel like this is, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, you don't have to do that in this game. You go with the base Imagine. You are totally fine. You don't even need to have the perfect stats. You can clear Noble and Hard mode. There is not like a 5-hour try to clear a raid or dungeon and then wipe. Those kind of things are not a thing here. There are other contents, casual contents, which you can fill your free time with once you're done with these kind of things. Was my context correct, Bidoof, Chi, Kai?
Yeah, but so
Yeah, go on.
you say it for casuals, right? I don't think casuals are gonna tier lists.
Casual's gonna, sorry, you were cut off.
I don't think casuals are like gonna follow tier lists. That's why we mentioned the switching Imagine part. Because it's gonna be the tryhards that are gonna try to follow, right?
No, casuals pull. The thing about
majority of the people following tier lists.
Yeah, even as a casual, like even in a casual game, let's bring up a different genre, Diablo 4 and Path of Exile 2. Why do you think, even though D4 bad, a lot of people meme around, why do you think D4 is so much popular in numbers than PoE 2? Because D4 is so easy. And then people will, I know that from other branches, on Maxroll, people follow like, this class is OP. This is the best one for this season. And D4 has more casual people. Once again, casual are the majority. That's why it's doing so well, because it's so simple and it's brain off and just grind. And they like it, and nothing wrong with that. And they follow metas. They do, as every grinder does. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. Like, you learn those kind of surprising twists when you get to see the numbers and so on. It also makes sense. Why shouldn't someone who just comes in and like, oh, it's a nice game. What are the best classes I can play? I want to actually play this, but I want to know what the best classes are. So the first thing they're going to check for are YouTube videos, best classes in game X, and then you usually come to tier lists.
That is the YouTube meta. Just play off on what you just said, where people will look up tier lists, will look up best class, those kinds of search terms. Yeah, that's definitely something that will be out there, and casuals definitely casuals follow that, right? Yeah.
I mean, gamers follow that. It's not only casual. Like, that's one thing which prevails through all the different kind of skill levels and time levels. Yep.
Right.
Kai?
Oh yeah. One more thing as well.
Yeah.
If they're gonna follow our Maxroll guides, correct? They're gonna try to follow our recommended imagines.
Mhm.
So when they try to swap classes, they're also gonna try to change the imagines.
Yes.
And changing imagines as a F2P is, yeah, good luck.
I think I mentioned somewhere, maybe I deleted it, I'm not sure, but there was like a crab imagine where I said that it's not as good as like X imagine, but you can still use this for a variety of other classes.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Chi, you brought up a good point. Like, once again, I didn't want to say there's no issue at all with swapping Imagine, but it is not as bad as people will look like, oh, you have a tier 5 and then now you have to change for another tier 5. No, it's a tier 0 for a casual usually. And then they decide to try out another class. They go to, or guides or the community builds, which recommend another Imagine for that other class, and now have to get the tier 0 of that. Definitely, it's like, it's not like you get it as a gift. You need to earn it. You either get the materials grinded, you get a lucky drop, or you buy it from auction house from other players. All these things, you need to do that. True. But there is a clear difference between getting another Imagine at tier 0 than or getting another Imagine to tier 5 to push master
Yeah,
levels.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
definitely, that's a clear difference. It is
Yes.
still like a
Yeah.
grind to get a tier 0 Imagine. I think still a month.
Yeah.
Is it a month for F2Ps?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. It depends.
Or
Depends on your RNG.
you're lucky
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you're lucky and get it as a drop. Or you don't even need to get
Depends a
it
lot.
as a drop. You can get any other legendary Imagine as from a world boss as a drop, sell it in the auction house, and get what you want. That works too.
Oh,
Yep.
selling is gonna be hard. Good luck.
Well,
Yeah, don't. Okay, I wouldn't recommend that, Percy. Because in that context, you can just farm like, I don't know, Inferno Ogre and get it to Imagine drop. Like, awesome, I could sell this. Nope, no one's gonna buy that.
yeah, of course.
No, you
I
gotta
mean,
farm
of
like a
course, you need to
certain
be aware
one.
of which Imagines are, the good
Chief.
ones. Yeah, the good ones.
Correct, no
Riku
crap.
Chief.
Yep.
Rikuchi, Frost Ogre.
I think Venom
maybe,
Bazaar might,
maybe an Imagine tier
Bazaar is
list,
gonna
boys.
pop off.
Imagine tier list?
Oh, this guy in this tier
That's
list.
less controversial, so yeah, I don't mind doing something like that.
I
Could do
feel
it
like
for our
that's
next podcast.
gonna be class dependent though.
We could do it for
it would be
classes,
you-
separate categories.
It's gonna be very controversial with the Imagine tier list when we say that Muku King is really bad.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
yeah.
I love the
I don't get why
concept.
people think it's good.
Wait, that
I
is
don't know
the
why.
Imagine
Okay.
which summons RNG based random Imagines, right?
No, that's
No,
the
that's
Goblin King.
King.
Oh,
Goblin
okay,
King's
okay.
good. Muku
Goblin
King
Yeah, that
King
one's
is
good.
a joke.
Yo, I actually love the concept of that Goblin King. Which class uses it as a main Imagine?
Shield Knight.
Midnight.
Uh,
Midnight and Shield Knight, I think.
Oh man, so I have to return to that. I don't want to play Wind Knight, to be honest. I don't want to put it that much effort.
Hey, you can just press H.
And then do ZDPS, you mean?
easy game. Yep.
Huh?
Just follow use rotation, Percy. You'll be fine.
You love his rotation, no? You had a lot of things to say about it.
Yep. I mean, once again, Wind Knight is for those like it's not a broken class. Once you play it well, it deals good damage. I mean, as every other class does. And the reason why I'm saying I won't play it because one of the build needs a lot more effort than other builds because it has actual proper rotation. So if someone is like, I don't want to sleep while I'm doing dungeons, check the rotation out. Check the Wind Knight specs, especially the Skyward one. Isn't that the one with
No, Vanguard is
Oh, was it Vanguard?
is the one.
Okay, Vanguard. Yeah. But in general, that class is more fun and more engaging than a couple others. But damage wise, you come to the point where it's fine. Yeah. So what do we have next on the list? Our favorite, our very
Favorite one.
our
No.
favorite one. So
Just briefly
We talked about it a little bit already.
yeah, we briefly
Yeah.
talked about it. Yeah. So okay, let's dive deep into it. Our obligatory Imagine discussion / pay to win discussion. Once again, I will give the mic to one of you guys. So what are the pay to win related concerns people brought up in the last few days in your stream, in the community? And which of those are legit, which are getting oversimplified, overcomplicated, or just overtuned, which are not that bad and which are actually worse than you think? Let's start with Chi this time.
Me?
No, the other Chi.
Yes.
I'll talk first about modules because
Okay.
the main difference between a Giga Whale and a whale it's modules.
Mhm.
Modules is a huge money sink. Like this thing, so modules have no pity, unlike like the Imagine Gacha, which has pity. So up to a certain point, you will stop like trying to get Imagines. I think like 2 plus 5 golds, probably around how much, Bidoof?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's
Plus
much
my
did you
goals.
spend?
definitely
Yeah.
How much
Once
did you
again,
spend?
those you have to
On
always bring in.
modules?
Yeah, sorry.
No. Imagines 2 plus 5 gold Imagines.
Oh, that's easy. That's like $1,400 or $1,500. Oh, that's because of the
Okay.
rebate though.
easy. Jesus.
Okay, so $1,400 to $1,500, correct?
Yep.
Modules can range
1,800
any.
if 1,800 if there was no
1,800?
rebate.
Yeah,
Around
nice.
2K, I would say. Yeah.
So this is just whale talk. As a casual, you don't need to listen to this, but it's just how the game is made. Modules can cost you around 5,000 plus. If you're lucky, around 3,000.
Lucky.
It depends. The chances. So we have the chances for modules, like the module roles, in our Maxroll guide on modules. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can see how low those chances are. And those modules can go from 1 to 10. So I'm talking about legendary modules here. And these legendary modules have nodes, these module nodes, they're insanely strong. One being damage stack, and the other being life wave. These two are crazy good for any class you play. Well, for damage stack for DPS, of course, but
Yeah.
life wave is good for everything. Then, so the chances are like what? 1%, 1+%, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah.
To get it on the first node. So legendary modules have 3 nodes. And the first node is the one where these special nodes will appear. And there's like 1 or 2% to appear. And not just for it to appear, you have to roll a very high number for it to be usable. So how much do you think that's gonna take you to roll a perfect module? And you just can't like roll one. It has to roll 4 times. Because there's 4 modules. So yeah. Money.
Well, I
Pay
mean,
to
like the
win.
thing is, the thing is what context you're leaving out is how much of a power spike am I gonna get? You said it's crazy strong, but then with Imagines, it's much more affordable, and then the power spike for that, like the cost to power ratio, like I'm pretty sure you get way more power for the dollar just by swiping for Imagines. For modules,
Yes, that is true.
I'm spending what? I'm spending
That is
3,000. You said, or 5,000 for
more than that.
I don't know.
It can range anywhere between 3K plus, I guess. But if you want to know about how much like power it gives you quite a bit, but not as much as Imagines, of course. But this is just to min max. These modules are basically just the min max. And if you're a pay to win player, like you want to swipe, I suggest not swiping for this. Because it's really a money sink. There's really no point in doing this. But the people in CN, the ones that clear non-mandatory content, and 20, the hardest content we have in CN, all of them have perfect modules, perfect everything. And they abuse bugs as well, just to clear it.
Also, they have low ping.
Yep.
Yeah, that is true too.
Yep. That's why Bidoof and she couldn't clear M20 so far, right?
I don't even
I mean,
clear
I don't want
19.
to. I have my pride, all right. I don't want to bug abuse.
Yeah.
Well, good that you brought it up, Shi. You know, it's not only whale talk, it's also only the min-max, how to get the last M20 done for more score to display your name next to my name. These kind of things, I think, is like, well, that is bad. Anyone who says it's fine is, I don't know. I would disagree. But at the same time, the context is here. You don't even need to bother with that kind of things if you just want to do the stuff majority of the player base is going to do. You won't even care about this thing. we talked about it briefly about other similar games, gacha games, where you have to do that. So it's like you have to do your daily, and then you or your daily dungeon or weekly dungeon or weekly raid, and then it says no, you can't do that because you need to buy stamina, or no, you can't do that because you don't have the gear. But hey, here you can get the best gear possible, spend some money, right? So those kind of things are not the case, luckily. I hope this won't change, copium. But for those who want to push harder, you either invest a lot of time or swipe, as Chi and Bidoof tried to explain. But you can also be an efficient swiper, as they tried to warn you. So for those who are who want to push those master levels and want to put in money, you can play smart.
Yep.
Okay. Anything? I mean, she was only talking about the modules and also brought up the imagines. And Kai, you want to add something to the pay to win talk concerns?
I'm not really a swiper, so I don't have much to add other than I mean the imagines are just a bit much, but I don't think anyone's gonna bother swiping that hard, to be honest. Unless you really, really want to clear like Master 20 specifically.
Yeah.
I guess since we're still on the pay to win topic,
Yeah, go on.
I guess like every day for a while I've been getting asked like, "Oh, is this class pay to win? Or do you have to swipe to actually do damage with this class?" Because there's been like some ongoing discussion, like maybe a few popular people, they see this class and then they're like, they preach to everyone else that hey, that you have to actually do this to be really strong with the class. And one of them is the Ido slash. Like people always get this wrong idea that you have to swipe a lot because they need the imagines. I mean, you can make that argument for every class, honestly. And then I have played this class free to play, and it's perfectly fine. And I'm playing on high ping, by the way. But with my high ping, I lose like 10% damage. So, like if I didn't have high ping, yeah, I think even with high ping, like free to play is still doable in this character. I think people just get the wrong idea. Like they confuse having to pay to win versus just building the class properly.
I have something to add as well. So I've seen a lot of people ask, because of a certain video, is dissonance really pay to win? Like, can dissonance
heck
work
yeah.
without swiping? Yes, definitely can work. The healing part of dissonance can work without swiping. Gonna do more. The more you swipe, the more damage you do. That's basically it. The healing part is always there. So you don't need to spend any money for the class to work. And that goes for every single class. Every single spec.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I said. It's like, I mean, you can swipe and do more damage on pretty much every class.
Yeah.
Like I don't get why people are singling out like a class like mine. Like it's more pay to win the others. Like who made that discussion and brought it up to everyone?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The thing she mentioned just about dissonance, right? So I think we need to make clear, guys, if you like the support classes don't replace a DPS. If you come with your argument, oh, but if I swipe a lot, that support will out DPS the DPS, right? So of course, but only if you put in like this weird condition where you as a swiper or like as a heavily min-max person as playing a DPS, let's call it DPS support, comparing it with normal players who play their normal DPS, of course it's going to look like that. But if you put in the same swipe or amount into a normal DPS class and compare now both with them, then of course the DPS class is going to out DPS you. Not even close, right? So that's such an absurd thing that was mentioned in that video, which makes no sense. Like, why would you think about that? Like, oh, if I play a support class and have it min-maxed and compare it with the DPS class on a basic level, it does a lot more damage. So legit DPS class. What the fuck? Sorry. Yeah. So in general, as far as I know, and she can correct me, she knows played the supports.
Yeah.
So if you play a support, you are a support. You can't replace a DPS on an equal level, equal gear. You won't be able to surpass them. The DPS kind of thing is how you like to be a support. That's what I understood. Are you someone who likes to stay, in a safe distance and
Active.
heal as the usual thing you do, or do you want to interact more with the monster and heal through damage? Heal through damage doesn't mean you will de-damage as much as every DPS. You will heal through damage and makes it a different playstyle. That's the correct way. Did I understand correctly, Chi?
Yeah. I also have some another thing to add is some people might argue that, oh, I want to play like Dissonance because it does damage and it can help with clearing harder content, non-mandatory content like N19, N20. So I want to play this class to do this, to help with this, like to clear this content. Let me be real with you guys. You're not clearing N19 or N20 if you don't spend money. That is just how stupid the scaling is. You are forced to spend money to clear those content.
The non-mandatory
Yeah,
content.
it's like
it's not mandatory.
I would say just anything at starting at M18. It's like just whale playground.
I mean, at some point it might be clearable. I think, as in every MMO, you get further you go, the gears you get previously, which were hard to grind, will be easier to get, and then then they will at the next tier of gear, and then suddenly M20 is easy. But then when you can clear M20 with the normal gear you get without swiping, there will be already M25, right? So
we'll have to see what happens in season 2 because we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that is what I assume it's gonna happen. So you are basically, if in BP as a TLDR, if you min-max imagines modules and all that kind of things to clear M20, you are just throwing your money at something to clear it as soon as possible, which is not even required. And people who don't do that will at some point, most likely, once again, we don't know if it's going to follow the usual MMO pattern, will at some point get the gear you struggled or had to swipe to get faster. It's not exclusive. They will get it way easier in couple, with way less effort and no money at all, and then clear the content. Obviously, now you are at a spot where you can clear even higher content and you can even swipe more. But I feel like that's a trap where people who can afford it, who want to show off, well, do it if you want, but I would call it not smart.
Unwise.
But it works apparently. There are people who want to show off. I mean, if they enjoy that, who am I to judge?
Yeah, we're not here to tell you don't spend money.
I mean,
not here to tell you how to spend your money.
Yeah,
I'll tell you how to play a game.
I mean, people have their personal goals in the end, so if that's what they prefer as their goal, then so be it.
Yep. I totally agree with that. Like, I don't want to come off like this and say all those people who do that are, are bad or are like, nope. If everyone enjoys different things, like I don't enjoy doing role plays, right? That doesn't mean role play is bad. I watch streamers do role play, who role play in like GTAs and then I find it really amusing. I'm not that kind of person who can do that. Maybe I have a hidden talent, I don't know. But we will find it out in BP maybe. But it's different kind of people, different preferences. Something you like, I might not like. Something you think is like, it's worth it, is something I would call, it's stupid. And the other way around. That's how we are. That's how humans are. And I think we need
something you would call cutting out. All right.
Oh, sorry, internet problems. Hopefully, my recording won't be cut off. Yeah, I mean, once again, yeah, it is how humans are. So you don't have to like everything other people like, or you shouldn't force people to like what you like. Everyone has their different preferences and goals. I think that's a great way to close this pay to win topic. Let's go for the last one. Yeah, actually, the last one, there's like a minor one after that. So release. What do you think going to happen? What are the issues? So we have first actually we have three things here. Let's briefly talk about all three at the same time. Give your point of view about these topics. So the first one, ping issue thing. Context. We know there will be I think that the server will be east, right? It's a global server, a mega server. So all the people who are going to play the Western version will be able to play together. But that comes with the trade-off of ping. You can't switch off the ping, which is based on distance. It's going to be there. It's a physical limitation. So that is the sacrifice we will have. So if I play with Bidoof, who is on the other side of the world, but we can play together, but one of us will have a higher ping. Luckily, and correct me if I'm wrong, most classes don't care about this ping. I played on the Chinese server with 170 ping as a tank, no issue at all. Luckily, this game is not prone to that. But
again.
Oh well, his ping issues are here.
Yep.
He found the thing.
Oh. No, it's my internet. Sorry, guys. I think the recording will be still fine, but it's just my my internet. Perfect timing. Yeah, so those kind of limitations will be there. The other option would have been different server for each region. So we would have a server for Europe, server for NA, server for South America.
Oh,
damn!
Oh god, are we gonna survive this podcast?
No, guys, don't worry. Oh shit! I got disconnected.
Oh shit!
I got disconnected.
Oh, did the recording drop?
No, the recording is
wait.
fine, guys. The recording is fine.
I see you stand up in game.
I
Oh
think
no.
we're already at technical difficulties here. Have Nico add that.
Okay, I'm back. Calm down.
Sit down. You're standing.
I can't sit down.
Oh no, I'm also standing up. Oh no.
Look at this guy. Sit down.
Okay, I gotta keep standing up because I think I have my VPN is having a spasm. So sorry, but you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't even if I get cut out, don't worry. I can hear you clearly, so you can keep yapping. There's no issue there.
Okay.
So back to my question. What do you guys think about this entire ping issue? Like, would you have preferred separate servers or a mega server?
I personally like that it's a mega server so everyone can play together. Of course, it comes with its downsides, but I'd rather have that than being the community separated into multiple parts. That's how I feel about it personally. And I mean, even from EU, I have like 80. I had 80 ping in the beta test, and I'm okay with that.
What about you, Bidoof?
I did at first. I didn't really think there was any issues. Like, I played China at like almost 200 ping. I have like at first I had like 0 issues, but then I realized that the issue that comes with high ping is your skills don't come off of cooldown as fast. That's the only thing. Like, everything else feels buttery smooth. Like the action just feels snappy. Whatever you do around the world, the whenever you get hit or you hit enemy, it's fine. But the only thing that I'm starting to realize is that cooldowns. So if you play on really high ping and you play a class that has short cooldowns, like this class, then Iaido Slash, then you might have a hard time keeping up with damage.
To name a few, it's probably Iaido, Vanguard, Icicle, and Dissonance. Those are the ones that are gonna have issues.
At which ping will the issue be apparent?
Probably 150.
150.
So not gonna be that apparent for NA and EU players. Gonna be apparent for other kinds of players.
Other people who use tools to access to it. Hashtag C. Yeah. So write on those classes if you are from those regions who want to play with the Western people but have high ping. So if the one of the classes listed here as ping, ping how do you call it? How do you call it?
Reliant.
Ping reliant, yeah. Ping reliant one might be a better idea to switch to a different spec. A better idea,
But
yeah.
that is probably just for min-maxing though, right, Bidoof?
Yeah, that is once again for min-maxing purposes. Like I didn't really have a problem clearing any content, and like topping damage too, by the way, in all those content, until I got to like
X.
M18 or M19. Then I realized that I'm gapped by ping. I can't do M19 higher because I have high ping. I can only, my max is M18, unfortunately.
Yeah. Some might call this an excuse, but
Yeah, true.
yeah, it's or a skill gap. But hey, this is an advice from an old veteran.
An old veteran.
I mean, I added before I switched to M18 that I was always topping damage, but all right.
Okay, so that was about the ping. Then we have every MMO has this issue when it releases to the West. Bots. Let's talk about this. First question, and I will ask the second question too. Follow-up question. Just answer both, please. What do you think this game will have a bot issue? The second question is, how will what parts or which parts of this game will be affected by bots? Kai, let's go.
So I mean, naturally, every MMO has bots, so I don't think this will be not the case for Star Resonance. But will there be bots for? Well, I happened to saw some while I was testing some stuff on the CN server. They were doing life skilling, so I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do from there, but who knows, man? I have no clue. But all I know is that I saw them mining when I was testing stuff.
Honestly, yeah, like I think there will be a bot problem, especially in global, because the difference of making an account in China, like any other like East Asia region, and versus global, it's like way more different. It's just like really easy to make an account in global versus in China. You need like several things, like for example, like ID and phone number, and like just a bunch of extra personal information. So it's a little bit harder to make bots over at eastern side. But I think there will be definitely a lot of bots. But the thing is, it's not going to be that impactful. I think it's like there's not really a way to RMD in this game, or real money trading, or real world trading, whichever term you prefer, depending on what MMO you come from. There's not like it's they put so many checks in this game to where it's practically impossible to RMT in the game. So I'm not really sure what the bots are here for. Like Kai said, they all they do is life skill. My guess is that they're like personal bots for the owner to gather life skill materials to just transfer over with the shared warehouse, which also has a lot of limits to it per week. But then Kai said that they are mining, so I'm not really sure how that works since you can't transfer mining materials over in the shared warehouse. So my other guess is that they're just trying to sell like really cheap materials to their mains through the trading center or the auction house.
Yeah, but even that has a limitation because of you can't set price whatever you want. There is a limit, upper limit and a bottom limit, right?
Yeah, but you still like just put it at minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wait, currently the rocks aren't at min price, so it is still worth it to use bots to sell at min price for your main account. Because I believe there's like no time. So as soon as you put the rocks up, pretty sure they're instant. They're like instantly there.
No, they're not.
No. It takes a while.
No.
It takes like a few minutes.
5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. You
It's
can't
5 to 10.
you can't use the auction house like that to trade from old to main. Like once again, there are a lot of systems to prevent this, which usually works in other MMOs. I remember Lost Ark still had that issue at the beginning, and TNL, and basically every MMO had that. But they have so many restrictions, as Bidoof said. So that's why I asked you guys, where can they benefit it besides from
Yeah,
just
exactly.
tribal, just to farm stuff for themselves. I don't know, like what the benefit would be. Sorry to interrupt you, Cheats. Wanted to add something else to that? Yeah?
It could be to like drive the economy down. So
Mm,
like make everything low in price so they can like basically benefit from it in the long run.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's
know,
only
'cause I don't
for
think
if you
there's
want
enough bots in CN for this to happen.
Yeah, but it's only for your own benefit, though. Like, once again, it's not like they are driving the price down to buy it and resell it or something. That won't
Yeah.
happen. That won't happen. And this
mm,
also, you are, I don't know, like what the purpose would be to drive down the price. If you have also a certain amount of stamina, you can still level up your life skill after wasting your stamina, but you won't get those materials, right? So yeah.
Sorry?
I like to also add that you brought up a good method of making money in other MMOs where it's like you buy low, sell high, like just flipping prices. You can't really do that in this game. Once you
yeah.
buy item, it's on a 30-day cooldown period when you can trade it again.
Yep.
So it's definitely not they're definitely not reselling the items. They're just using it for their progression.
Hashtag add
Yeah.
hashtag trading center guide on Maxroll.
Well, I was thinking about it, and I think that's what they're doing. Basically, they're mining and trying to sell it to themselves through the auction house. Then they turn that into smelted materials, and then they sell those smelted materials for a profit. That's the only thing I can see, or use for themselves. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's move on to the last point about release, which is server will burn. That's exactly how we
Yes.
noted it down in our agenda. Is server will burn ? So
10k rose orbs.
usually at an
Awaiting the
MMO,
compensation.
when an MMO releases, the servers go on flames, right? So it's rare to see an MMO release without any major issues, or a game release, right? I remember PoE2 release and D4 release, the queues, the disconnects. It feels like it's a norm now. So do you think it will be different? Sorry, it's already funny when I...
Yeah, there's gonna be issues on launch for sure. I don't think any launch will be stable. I don't think there has been a single launch that has been stable for MMOs.
No.
Question
Yep,
is
I'm
whether
awaiting my
how bad it will be.
Yep.
We don't know
How many
bad it will be.
hours?
Yeah.
How many days?
Yeah, like China was probably one of the worst candidates for this. Like I thought China's Blue Star Resonance was the worst MMO launch I've experienced, where it just didn't feel good that how they handled the server disconnection and crashes. And I think we talked about that in a
Yeah.
podcast.
one of the
Yep.
first Resonance podcasts. Yeah.
Yep. And we hoped and copiumed that they learned from their mistakes.
We're still hoping,
Yeah.
but you know.
But if they don't, the people that survive this, you guys are probably gonna get like, I don't know, maybe a few thousand bound rose orbs. I think that's a win. Sacrificing
Can you imagine?
Free
yeah,
gold
we
imagine.
sacrifice hundreds of thousands of people, and then we get a free gold imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I saw already people who experienced that in China wishing for a bad start just to get some free stuff. We have one
And we
here
can
in
put
this.
China while it's down, so
Yep. Where's my rose orb? Huh? Where's my rose
Putting my
orb?
hands together here.
Yep. Well, let's see how that goes, and I expect issues. Hopefully, they will be able to fix that as soon as possible. But who knows? I won't go in with like, really optimistic, hey, everyone will be able to join and there won't be any issues. Doubt it. Doubt it. Okay, so that was the last actual part or point on our list. There's one more thing left, which is closing thoughts before the launch. Once again, this will be most likely the last podcast before the launch of the game. We will be really busy on the first few days, gaming and doing stuff on Maxroll. There will be a couple more guides coming out for contents which you might love to enjoy, or which you might enjoy but need some guidance, and some new tools and features. So we will work on that. So we will have less time the next few days. But we hope to return in a week with the next podcast, with new stuff, with exciting stuff, hopefully not as many bad stuff. But before that, closing thoughts, closing advice. So each of you guys, if you want to give the new players approaching VP one important advice, what would it be? So let's start this time with Bidoof.
Would I? Does it have to be a new person?
No,
Or
in
just
general, anyone.
Yeah. My advice would just be to just, I don't know, just be positive about the game. Like I'm not saying to ignore all the flaws of this game, because the game definitely has flaws to it. But then I think where we're at right now for like just MMOs in general, like I've pretty much just been observing every community for MMOs for this past like couple years. Like everyone's just openly always shitting on the MMO and pointing out the flaws and stuff. But then like there's a lot of like positives that are overlooked because of that. Like for example, like the mega server, I think that's a huge W, but like nobody really talks about the positives of Star Resonance. And it just kind of, it sucks. But like, yeah, I mean, if you're able to zone out those kinds of like people or like those thoughts, and I'm zoning out in the last few minutes here. Like if you just enjoy some of the good parts of the game, I think it's an enjoyable game. You don't have to try hard either. The game doesn't like really give you a lot of FOMO, so you can just come back at your own whenever you feel like it. And
Bro, that's a long advice, man. You're taking away our advices, bro.
I'm sorry. Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, my main thing is just try to just be positive. That's all I'm saying. Don't sour your experience by being negative all the time.
Thank you, Bidoof. Thank you for the short and 10 advice in one advice. Monologue.
It was an easy boss.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Kai.
For me, it's kind of going back to what I said earlier. Like, just even if people have their own personal goals in the game, don't even worry about what others do. Whether it's like Johnny's goal is to swipe from Master 1920, or Bobby's goal is to ERP in the inn every day. Just have a good time and enjoy yourself. In the end, it's a video game. It's there to have fun in.
I would say don't burn yourself out, because I think that's a common problem in MMOs where there's infinite grinding. Yeah, just don't burn yourself out. Take time to rest. Don't grind too much until because there's always a gear chase. And if you like grind too much in the early stages and then you have to replace gear later on, you might feel burnt out. You might feel like, oh, why did I do this then? Because I've seen other videos or creators that make 5 things to do, like all these kind of videos, and they mention infinite grinding for early game gear, which you don't need to do. So yeah, I would say just don't burn yourself out. Have fun, play the game how you want.
Yep. Definitely. Just to add to that point, because I love talking about so many different points to give to the players. There's like one thing which is like field bosses. People always want to just farm those. Yeah, you're gonna burn yourself out if you do that. Don't do that. Just play the game slowly, I think, or at your own
Take your
pace.
time, yeah.
Oh, one more advice.
One advice.
Please,
What
please,
is so
read
strong?
the guides.
What is so hard to understand about one advice, Chi?
Beginner guides, man. You don't want them to read the beginner guide?
Oh my god. Okay, go for it. Go for it.
We have the beginner guide. Read it and plan how you want to play.
Hashtag ad.
Again.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, for all of you except Kai. Kai was the only one who understood the instruction. I feel like.
Wait, Percy, what would be your one tip to give to?
Yeah,
to,
exactly.
I was
players
about to
again?
give it.
Advice.
I was about to give one, but it got taken away twice already. So I have to think on the spot about one, which I'm trying to do now while I'm, talking. Okay, I got one. So my advice is acknowledge what the game is about, which is not FOMO and casual focused. Don't chase, combine all or everything what the other guy said, and be aware that you don't have to chase a lot of things like you were conditioned to do in other MMOs, and which became the norm, which is one of the main reasons why after the hype phase so many casual players drop off, because it feels like a chore. Don't listen to those chore chasing, min-maxing content creators who will tell you need an alt, you need to farm 100 hours per day. From their point of view, it might be something that what is their goal, but you have to think about what time you have, acknowledge your limitations time-wise, and this game doesn't force you to invest more than you need for the mandatory content. Once you have done the mandatory content, don't try to force yourself into chasing gear. Enjoy all those leisure activities, those if you don't like role play. By the way, we're going to do something for that in our Star Residence database Discord. Stay tuned. Then just go and collect Pokemons, aka monster manuals, or go do the journey. I think we have a guide for journey, and Bidoof made a video about that too. So all those kind of funny activities, or just chill in the tavern or in the bar, where each channel will have most likely a different role play group playing something. Enjoy. It feels like something intuitive because of what you experienced in the last few MMOs. But I feel like, and I always thought like an MMO which doesn't force mandatory content or have mandatory content which force you into investing tons of time and or money. That will be the next big MMO, and feel like, even though this is not a perfect game, I feel like they have the correct approach. None of the mandatory content requires for you to invest more than 1 or 2 hours per day in average, and which is the average time a casual player has. You will be some days or even done with 1 hour, and then you just fill it out for something you enjoy. That's my long advice. Sorry, I complained about the other advice, but I yapped a lot too, because they took away so I had to improvise. Okay, but yeah, that's my advice, and once again, take it or leave it. But I hope some of you will follow some of those things we just talked about. Well, that was quite a journey, guys, from our first to sixth podcast, and now we are about to enjoy the game. And after this one, it will be a post-launch podcast, a different vibe, a different us, and let's see how we're going to be there in a week. So thank you very much, boys. As always, it was a pleasure talking with you about all those things. I hope we could shine light on all those dark corners, and maybe shine even brighter light on all those good corners, which often get forgotten, as Bidoof said, because we as a human focus mostly on bad things and take good things for granted. So yeah, overall, I hope this was helpful. And we will be back soon with more episodes covering updates, community reactions, and everything you need to stay ahead in Star Residence. And don't forget to check out the QR code, and visit our Discord, or give us some feedback for guides or the podcast, your ideas, suggestions. Always appreciate it. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Thank you again for my co-hosts, Kai, Bidoof, and Chi. And
Thank you.
until next time,
You.
thank you. I will let you
Bye.
guys say thank you and bye before I cut you off. That's it? Are you sure,
Goodbye,
guys?
guys. I'm dead.
Oh, bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. And until next time, stay resonant, people. Bye bye. Your host, Percy.